Hello everybody and welcome back to this lecture. And right now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what was my personal path, how I got where I am right now, what jobs did I take, what path did I take, and what was the first thing that I did once I started trying to get an actual career and actual my first job in ethical hacking field. Okay, so first of all, I've known ethical hacking since like 5 years. Once it started off as a hobby, I basically was interested in. I watched a lot of movies. I was actually interested in learning how they do that because it seemed like an actual good skill to have. It seemed like an actual interesting skill to have, and therefore I didn't really start it off because of actually having a career one day in that field or for actually earning any money in that field, but that's how it turned out. So I started off as a hobby. Basically, I learned something on YouTube. I basically searched for Kali Linux, then installed virtual machines, then learned on different virtual machines, then bought my first laptop, then I installed Linux on it and basically learned programming and learned everything I need in order to become an ethical hacker. And then around 2 years ago, I decided why not try to make some money using this actual field, ethical hacking field. So what I started off is a little bit interesting because it is not really that usual, and it does really work, at least in my case. I decided why not give private lessons from ethical hacking. Now that is something that I haven't seen anyone do, especially in my country, where I usually see math classes, physics classes, and some other usual classes that you see every time. And then I decided, well, maybe people would be interested in order to have an ethical hacking class, because that is something that is still taboo, as is for most of the people. And therefore I decided to print out around 1000 papers saying that I'm offering classes, and then I put it in a certain city on each building. And on my surprise, I set a price to be around $20 an hour or something like that. I can't even remember, which in my case or in my country is a really high price for an hourly rate. And I was thinking that not many people will actually reach out to me to have an actual lesson, and that was basically a mistake. Once I actually put every paper out, basically the next day over 30 people already applied to have an ethical hacking lesson. It was a good investment. I was giving basically private lessons for $20 an hour. I taught people how they can hack wireless networks, how they can hack social media accounts, how they can basically hack systems, create backdoors, code in Python, and so on and so on. Now, from my personal experience, what most people wanted to do, if you for example decide that you want to do this the same way, you want to give out private lessons, most people will contact you because they want to learn how to hack either wireless networks, that was one of the most things that people desired, or the social media accounts such as Instagram and Facebook. That's also some of the things that people really wanted to. Now, of course, you need to make sure to specify to them that all of that stuff is illegal unless you have actual permission. You can teach them that, but what they do with that knowledge is only on them. You basically only mention that it is illegal, that they shouldn't do it, and that you're only here for the educational purposes, and therefore what they do with the knowledge that they learn is their own problem. Okay? Now you might be asking why I didn't really share it online. Well, basically in my country most of the private lessons are actually labeled like that, so someone actually creates a few hundred papers, then puts it out somewhere in the public, and therefore he puts his phone number or email address or basically any contact information, and then the students contact them for private lessons. That's what I did right here, and it actually worked really well. And not that long ago, or not that long after that, I basically joined a team of a private cybersecurity company that actually offers cybersecurity packages to different companies or different firms that need them. Now that is also another thing that you should do and that you should try to do. It is always good to create your own team that will work together, and basically you offer your own knowledge and your own protection within the fields of IT security to different companies. So how you will do that is simply, let me just go to this site right here, as it says InfoGuard Cybersecurity. This is just an example of a certain website that offers cybersecurity protection, and basically different types of security protection to different companies. As we can see right here, cybersecurity solutions and consulting services, we provide threat intelligence and strategies that protect your vital information and mitigate cybersecurity risks, prevent data breaches by attackers, and safeguard your organization 24/7. So you basically offer your own packages, cybersecurity packages, or your own help in order to protect different company or different firm. Now you might be asking, why do they need that? Well, most of the companies actually have some valuable information or some information that shouldn't really get into wrong hands, and they really want to secure it. Therefore they hire these teams, these cybersecurity teams that actually secure their entire company and prevent the hackers and the attackers from getting in. Therefore, you as an ethical hacker or as a cybersecurity expert, you want to offer your own help to these companies in order to protect their own data. Therefore, once I joined my own team, what we had at that moment is basically we had just a team, and we created a website where we offered our own packages of cybersecurity solutions or basic cybersecurity help that will prevent hackers from getting into a company. So the company actually how does it go? Well, basically the company contacts you. It says, I need to secure my own personal space, and by personal space I mean inside the company building. You want to secure your wireless networks, you want to secure your machines. For example, one company actually had only Windows XP installed, which is actually really bad considering it was only 2 years ago. The entire company running 80% on Windows XP is really dangerous, especially as there are many vulnerability issues with Windows XP, and therefore the entire company needed an upgrade to the newer Windows, and basically we installed just Windows 10. You installed the antiviruses, the firewalls, and everything that the company requires from you. It is mostly something really easy, such as, for example, securing their PCs with an antivirus that will prevent different types of threats. Then you need to actually secure the wireless networks, which is also something that they search for. And by secure, you simply just specify to them, don't use open networks, don't use WEP, use WPA2. Basically search for a good password and a strong password, and don't share it to anyone. So once you actually have a team, or if you choose to take that path and create a team which will offer some help, you simply just can create a different types of packages that you will offer to different companies, such as, for example, system security as a package, wireless security, I don't know, network IT security. Basically you need to make sure that their network structure or IT structure inside that building is completely secure, that there are not any holes, that there is not a vulnerable machine inside that specific network, because if you, for example, find one vulnerable machines, it is a really good chance that you will be able to infect the entire network inside that specific building. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be only security inside that building. They can simply just ask from you to secure their own website. So, for example, you can have someone in your team that is expertise in the website penetration testing, and therefore, once they hire you to actually test their website for the security issues and vulnerability holes, you can hire someone from your team to perform that specific test and to see whether that company's website has any security issues. As we can see right here, the first security issue for this actual website would be that it is not even HTTPS. As it says right here, it is not secure, it is HTTP. Therefore, if you have any actual information that is going over this website, such as, for example, this right here, it can be sniffed very easily by anyone that is intercepting connections over our own network. So simply, if I just type my name and everything right here and send a request, the attacker would be able to read it in plain text, just because this website is not HTTPS and doesn't have SSL encryption that basically encrypts your own data and doesn't let anyone see it in plain text. Okay, so that is also something that you can do, and that is also something that I did. It can be a side thing. You don't really need to put everything into that team. Simply, in my personal example, I work basically like 1 or 2 days a week, and it is not really that stressful. You can simply just have it on a side while you have your own projects or own main projects that you do besides that. Now, of course, once I actually got into that team and actually started doing tests for the different companies that actually require our own help, I stopped giving private lessons because I didn't really see any point in doing that. Therefore, I started searching online jobs on different freelancing platforms that I showed you in the previous video, and therefore there is also an Upwork, which I started not long ago. I basically started it off like few months ago, and there I managed to find my first job, which was to actually be an instructor as an ethical hacker, which is also something that you can do. It is similar to the private lessons that I gave before, just this is on English language and it is online, but doesn't really matter. You can always have that opportunity in front of you. Once you learn some skill, you can always be an instructor or a professor or someone that gives private lessons regarding that specific field, because you have knowledge from that field. And therefore, right now, because of Upwork, you're basically watching this course, because currently on my Upwork profile you will see that I'm working as an actual instructor for the ethical hacking courses, and therefore for this course as well, which will teach you how you can get your first career, or pardon me, how you can get your first job in this ethical hacking field. Okay. So basically, let us sum everything up. There are a few ways you can go. You can create your own team. You can join a team that already exists, that provides their cybersecurity and ethical hacking skills in order to protect different companies from different threats and vulnerabilities. That is always a good thing to do. It doesn't take too much of your time, especially because you're in a team, at least in my case. And then next to it, you can always have an actual freelancing platforms and your online accounts where you will apply for different jobs, whether those are full-time jobs, part-time jobs, longer or shorter jobs. It doesn't even matter. You can take anything you really like and you think that you can do, and therefore you will be good to go, and soon enough you will find your first job, and from there you will find your second job, and you will create a career for yourself. Now, another important thing to do is to keep everything on the legal side, because sometimes on these Upwork platforms and on these freelancing platforms you can find clients that will actually require you to perform some illegal stuff, especially in the ethical hacking field. Now, another thing how you can actually recognize those clients is you can simply just go right here onto the Upwork page. You can go right here, and now this doesn't have to mean, but once the payment is not verified, it means that the client basically probably just made the account right here on Upwork and searched for someone that will do its job. Now, also another thing from my personal experience is that as soon as the client actually asks for your Skype account, or basically for the communication outside of the platform, they will most likely want to actually have you do something illegal. And by illegal, they most likely want you to hack some website that they do not own, or that they do not have permission to actually tell you that you need to hack it. Therefore, if you encounter something like that, you should keep away, because most likely they will actually want something from you that you shouldn't really do. Okay, so basically that will be about it for this lecture. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I will see you in the next one. Bye.